Are you struggling to paint skies? At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how I paint beautiful blue skies, and with clouds even, simply by using 3 colors. So stick with me and don't fast forward or you might miss some good stuff. Now let's go. Hey art fans, it's Jose. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, thank you, I appreciate you. There are so many types of skies that have been painted by many artists. Some with clouds, some without. Some of sunrises, some of sunsets. Some skies are beautiful blue with bright white clouds, while others might be dark and gloomy. This all depends on the type of sky that you want to paint. The types of skies you paint is up to you, and the mood that you want your painting to have. Painting blue skies with clouds can enhance your painting. Clouds come in all shapes, size, and colors. But not all skies have clouds. Some are just blue, which is okay also. Just having a nice blend of blue from top to bottom, from darker to lighter color, can really make your painting pop. I'm going to show you how I paint skies with clouds, especially when I'm painting outdoors in plein air. When I'm painting skies and clouds in the studio, that's a whole different ball of wax. It's a longer, time-consuming process in the studio. However, I still like to try to have a painterly style. I'm not trying to blend the clouds to where they're so soft and whatnot, in the back. Some people like it that way, which is okay. I like more of the painterly style. So I'm not concerned with trying to be soft and blend the clouds, especially when I'm painting outdoors in plein air. When painting outdoors, you need to work quickly and get the sky out of the way so you can paint the rest of your landscape painting. The sun is moving so quickly and the light is changing. Not all landscape paintings have skies. Sometimes it's just foliage, which is cool also. Sometimes you'll have a bit of blue sky peeking through the trees, which shows that there was a blue sky that day when you were there. Plus, it also gives you a sense of depth in the painting. In the past, I have taken so many photos of clouds and kept them as inventory for later reference. You can say I was obsessed with clouds. Like I said in an earlier video, artists are observers. We like to study everything around us, to include clouds. Sometimes we can remember what the clouds look like, how the light lit the clouds, how the shadows define its shape. It's always a good idea to have photos of clouds for future reference. You may at one point have a photo of a beautiful landscape only to find out that there was no clouds in the sky. This is where you need to be creative and add your own clouds, either from memory or from photos. It's your painting. You decide what type of clouds you want, the size, color, shapes. It all depends on the mood that you want your painting to have. Okay, story time. As if I haven't bored you enough. I remember when I was painting in art class, I was painting a beautiful, as I thought, it was a beautiful cloud. I wanted to paint the perfect clouds, and I was making them nice and round and soft and bright. I was so into it. I was working so hard trying to get them perfect. I was trying to capture the round puffiness with the shadow underneath the clouds, so they look 3D-ish. But, I worked so hard on these clouds. And then when my teacher came over to look at it, she said they look like white potatoes floating in the sky. You have to love constructive criticism, especially from someone that knows what they're talking about. I took what she said and I learned from it. Thank you, Miss Treasure. Okay, so if you're still with me, I thank you. Now let's get started on how I paint a sky very quickly when painting outdoors. Now let's go. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, I have an 11 by 14 canvas that I had previously sketched some shapes and whatnot on here for another demo, different demo, maybe doing some values with greens or whatnot. I'm going to cover only the sky part in this demo, and then possibly show you how I work the trees into the sky. I like to go and cover the sky first and then have an idea as to where my trees are going to be and then paint the trees over the sky. I don't like to come back and paint dots of blue into the tree foliage so it looks like it's an open area of the tree so you can see the sky. For one, the color might be a little off because now you're laying the blue from the sky onto the tree branches, and it might take a different color of hue or tint than what you had initially put down on the sky. So without further ado, let's get going. So here are my colors right here. I like to use, for the sky, like I said, I like to use the 3 colors real quick because I'm painting outdoors. I use cerulean blue, titanium white, and some yellow oxide. A little yellow oxide with a white. And I have my spray bottle here, and mist my paints. Try to keep them a little moist. And I'll take the cerulean blue, and what I'll do is I'll make a mixture of some titanium white and the blue. I like to lighten the blue up a little bit with a titanium white. Depending on the color that you want the sky to be, it could be, but keep in mind the blue does tend to want to darken with acrylics. All right, so this could be the top. This could be the top of the sky, because the sky is dark on the top, and then as it's coming down to the horizon, it lightens up. So I'm going to take this white and have another lighter tone. So I'm going to lighten this cerulean blue. Now I have two tones, two values of blue right here. So this is going to be the bottom part of the sky, the horizon area, and then this blue here is going to be the top part. Okay. So there are my two colors for the sky, and normally I like to use a number 6, depending on the size of the canvas that I'm using. But I like to use a number 6 and a number 4 for the skies. I generally start with a number 6, and I'll take some of this darker tone of blue. I want to keep it simple as possible outdoors when I'm painting, because you only have so much time and the sun is moving very quickly. And then I'll start from the top, get some more of that blue, and I'll just dab across the top just like that with the blue. Like I said, depending on the darkness of blue that you want. It's looking a little too dark for me, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the titanium white to it. It's a matter of taste. And I'm always pulling the brush if I'm not using a palette, a painting knife, I'll use the brush. Don't be afraid to experiment with different brushes. You can see there's still a different tone there from this blue and that blue. So coming back with a newer mixture of blue, I'll start again on the top. Just dab the paint. Don't be afraid to put the paint on there with the brush. This, like I said, this is the number 6, and I know there's going to be. There's a phone call.
Call from machine.
So, like I said, I'll start from. Sorry about the interruption there of that phone call. I'll start from the top, and I'm not worried about the blending. I like the brush. Like I mentioned before, I like the brush strokes because it looks like a painting. It doesn't look like a photograph, and that's where I'm at with that. Depending on the style that you want. So I'm using the darker tone, and I like to paint in X shapes. So I know there's going to be a tree in here somewhat, but like I said, I try to remember where the tree is at in here, and I went a little too low there. And I'll go all the way across, just painting in X shapes. Or figure 8s, as my art teacher used to tell me. Just do the figure 8 on your canvas. So just cover the whole thing, so you don't want to go back and touch up. So I know there's going to be a tree in here somewhere. So you see how I left a little bit of area where I know my tree is going to be in here. I still have the blue that's going to come through. There's going to be, obviously, there's going to be foliage over there also. So I'll take the lighter shade. So now I'm going to rinse my brush out. dab it on my rag that I take out with me. Use my spray bottle and I'm misting my paints so that they don't dry out on me. Now I'm taking the lighter shade of that blue. I'm taking the lighter shade and I'll start in the bottom and go up. Bottom. Take the lighter shade. Like I said, we want to work quickly because the sun is moving, the wind is blowing out there, it's drying your paint. I don't use like mixtures of, you know, retarders or whatnot. It's just the paint in a canvas. So there we go. And now I'm still mixing some of the other blue into the lighter tone. Just like that. X, 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 figure 8. Get some more of that lighter tone of the blue. Again, here's the horizon line right there. The lighter blue, the lighter value, it's towards the bottom of the horizon. Still using my number 6 brush. The horizon's right here somewhere. It's above the center point, which I like to either be, you know, I don't like the horizon to be in the center. It's either up higher or lower, either or. So that kind of gives you an idea of the where I'm at with the when I paint the blue. Okay, it's all brush strokes. You can come back and fill in some areas. You can't be you can't be afraid of having brush marks on your painting. But I like to try to cover the canvas. No canvas peeking through. Okay. So there it is, darker to lighter. Something about the atmosphere and the molecules in the air and whatnot, and the sun hitting the earth, that it would make the horizon part look lighter than the top part. So now I'm going to mix my cloud colors in here and put some cloud colors. And normally I like to use yellow oxide and titanium white. I'll take some yellow oxide and add it to the titanium white, and then I'll come back with some highlight of pure titanium white. So what I'll do is I'll take now I've moved on to my number 4 brush, and I'll take a little bit of the yellow oxide and mix it with some white, because I like a warm feel to it. So it's kind of a light, very, very pale oxide color. Probably have a little bit too much water in my brush. Let me squeeze some of that water out. So I'm mixing some titanium white and some yellow oxide. Gives me a little warm tone, a little warm color right there. Then I'll come back. Like I said, we're working quickly, and I'll just pick an area and just put some of this color. Sometimes you kind of have to, when you're outdoors, hopefully it's a little windy to where the blue tends to the blue will dry, so that you can come back in with the yellow color, or not the yellow color, but more the warm white, so it doesn't mix in with the blue. Because if you get yellow oxide and blue together, then you're going to get a green tint to it. So we're just going to dab some of this color. And you can skip and hop, around the canvas, so you have some color. Don't be afraid to experiment. Like I said, I don't get into trying to soften the clouds, like super soft. I kind of like the brush stroke. And I'll come down in here. It all depends on how many clouds you want to put out there. So see, the blue is a little more dry now since it's so warm in this room. Okay, just go out this way. I mean, you can go out to the sides or whatnot. So there's some of that in there. That's a mixture of the yellow, and I'm using the corners of this flat brush. You can use whatever brush you're comfortable with, but I use the number 4, and that's all right for me. And because the blue in the back is semi-dry, it's not giving me that weird tone. It's not giving me that greenish tint because it's already almost dry, the blue in the back. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll spin the brush, and hit the corners here and there of the flat. Or maybe I'm going to put more down here in the bottom, down here. More like distant cloud, like that. I mean, you can soften the edges just by barely a dry brush technique, I guess, up in here. So now that I have a little bit of the warm tone for the clouds, I'm going to grab some straight white, titanium white, on my number 4 brush after I clean it in the jar there that I take out with me. And depending on the direction that the sun is coming from, let's say from the left or whatnot, I'm gonna say there's gonna be highlights coming, that the sun's coming from the left, so it's gonna be highlights more on this side, like the left side of the cloud. So I'll just come in and I'm dabbing some whites here and there, and then kind of blend it into the yellow tone, just here and there. Like I said, this is a plein air painting, or it's an indoor painting that you're painting the clouds the way you saw them, or the way you envision what they look like that day. But if you're painting outdoors in plein air, then you have to move quickly because you want to get on with your landscape painting. So I'm just putting some white here and there on the left side of this other tone, the yellow tone, the yellow oxide and titanium white. And I always try to, if I have to, I'll dry my brush. If I have too much paint on it, I just do it quick so as not to have too much white or too much paint on the brush. And just keep working just like that. So I'm having highlights in an area because I want to look, I want to see the you can see the brush marks here and there, but it's a painting, it's not a photograph. So I'm not trying to paint a photograph here. I'm trying to make a painting. Just a little bit of white here and there. And if you have to, you can always go back into that yellow oxide and white if you wanted to add a little bit more and mix it in with the white. You can do that also. Just go back, clean your brush, and then come back. Sometimes it helps if you step back from your painting while you're out there painting, or even in your studio. Again, this is the corner of my number 4 brush, and I'm just kind of turning my brush, just twisting it, I guess, just to try to get some shape in there. Now some clouds you may want to, some clouds if they're just going this way by themselves and stuff. Some people like to add gray in the bottom or whatnot. I like a warmer tone myself. Okay, so like I said, you're in a hurry, you're outdoors, you're painting outdoors, and just real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to real quick where the tree was, or the foliage was here, or even right back in here. I might even come down a little bit more over here and cover this up. So just real quick, I'm taking some hooker's green, some raw umber, and some yellow oxide together and making a mixture of greens just to do a quick overlap of the sky with acrylics. You can take your number 4. So I know there was a tree in here somewhere. So I'm gonna come back in here and just paint over my sky, but leave enough information from the back to peek through. You have to be very careful, and it takes, like I said, takes some practice. I mean, this eventually right here, there's going to be a tree here. Let me try it. And the lighting is coming from this other side, from, again, still from the left side. So you start working your tree. Yeah, yellow oxide, raw umber, hooker's green, and yellow oxide. Maybe some, for the anything distance, I'll add a little bit of white to those values to soften the distant, trees or the different. And I'm just skipping and hopping, skip hop, to leave enough information of the sky in the back. Just bounce around and then come back down. A little bit of yellow oxide and hooker's green, raw umber. Back in the back, get some darker tone. It depends on what was out there. And of course, like I said, this is not a detailed painting of how I would do trees, but it just gives you a general idea as to how to overlap the tree to your sky. And there's going to be branches, and like I said, you got to be very careful not to close it all up. Again, there's going to be, it might be like a branch. I'm just going to do something real quick. So you kind of get the gist right there. You paint your trees if you know how to paint trees. And right there, just adding some more of the yellow oxide where I know there's going to be highlights. Like that. And then you continue your landscape painting. So that kind of gives you an idea as to how I paint the sky. Like I said, dark to light, warm tones on the clouds, highlights with the whites, and then you paint your trees, your foliage. Thanks for watching. Well, there you have it, my painting friends. I hope this demo helped you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one. Now let's paint.